Hi, my name's Andrew Hreha, and I am the co-founder of the Constitutional Republic of Civil Liberties Party, or the CROC Party as we like to call it. The CROC Party was founded last year by myself and some of my other friends from home, and we founded the CROC Party on a few basic principles. The first of which is the Constitution. We believe that the Constitution should be the law of the land and should be followed as such. We also founded the party on the basis of preserving the Republic and the civil liberties of the people living in the Republic. Since we founded the CROC Party last year, we now have over 45 members. We have campaigned with Gene Rush, who ran for the coroner of Greene County, Pennsylvania, and won. We are now working with Jim Christiana, who is running for PA Senate, and also here at Waynesburg University, which is where some of our members attend school. We set up a table at Waynesburg University's Harvest Fest and won Best Theme. Alongside me today is CJ Sekanick, who is a fellow freshman student here at Waynesburg University.
I do.
CJ is a education major, if I'm correct.
Secondary ed history.
And he is a member of the CROC Party and actually an administrator here with the CROC Party. He's very involved with what we do here at Waynesburg, and he definitely wanted to get in with this CROC Channel. Now, to explain a little bit about what the CROC Channel is going to do, we're going to give our political commentary on current issues, past what if you're a member, you know what the CROC Mag is. It's a magazine that we started in October of 2017, and we're going to provide you more access to our political opinions and our ideology, and I think this is going to be a really good project. We're going to have some of our members back home working on it as well. That would include Benjamin Sievers, TJ Stiffy, all the guys back home that, many of our viewers, or many of our first-time viewers will know as, sort of the founding members of the CROC Party. We're really excited about this project. And for today's episode, what I want to start with is the whole idea of North Korea and the Olympics. Now, North Korea, after, President Trump has been very critical of them and the Kim Jong-un regime, now they're sort of taking a step in what a lot of people see as the right direction with, joining up with South Korea for the Olympics. However, they're still a far ways away from being, a peaceful nation, and I don't foresee the Kim Jong-un regime, I don't see him giving up the regime anytime soon. So, the problem at least the problem that I have with what's going on right now in the Olympics is the idea that the Kim Jong-un regime is sort of being ignored, and we're almost celebrating as a society. We're celebrating this country.
Yeah.
CJ, what are some of your thoughts on what's going on?
Definitely what you said about Kim Jong-un, a lot of people thinking he's taking a step in the right direction of kind of backing off his U.S. versus the world stance. Me against them, me against everybody else. I am all powerful. But I really don't buy it. I feel it's a way to kind of not let our guard down necessarily in the fact of opening us up for mass conflict or an invasion like you see in movies such as Red Dawn. But just kind of get them thinking, oh, well, maybe they're going to be nice now. We can't take that stance. We can't let them get into our heads like that. We have to remain vigilant of what they're doing, foreign and domestically in their country, and start out, most of all, their nuclear industry that is very quickly building, and whatever they may be doing with the military, what little we can find out, we need to get as much information as we can, and definitely keep an eye on them.
Exactly. And another issue that I have with this whole North Korea and the Olympics idea is the fact that, media outlets such as CNN are saying that Kim Jong-un's sister is stealing the show, and, we have a lot of coverage of the North Korea dance team. Well, first off, you have to remember, most likely the North Korea dance team is there by force.
Yes.
That's not like they didn't sign up for it. It's not like a cheer squad. That's forced by the Kim Jong-un regime.
There was no tryout for that.
Exactly, yeah. Another thing is, Kim Jong-un's sister is a part of a family that has put their own siblings to death. One of Kim Jong-un's brothers was put to death last year
yeah.
in North Korea.
And I believe an uncle or an older relative was put to death as well for falling asleep in a military conference.
Yes.
They took him out back and gave him the old Yeller treatment.
Yeah.
And put him out the pasture. And it was quite brutal from accounts that came out of North Korea after that broke in the news.
Absolutely. So this isn't a regime that we should be glorifying as a society. This isn't a country that we should, just because they took one step in the right direction doesn't mean that we should be embracing them full-heartedly, which is almost what, the mainstream media wants to do at this point, is embrace North Korea as sort of this pop culture phenomenon, and it really isn't. It's a dictatorship that we've seen before in history of, tyrannical rulers that, it's not a joke. It's not something, if you look at, even take, for instance, the President's State of the Union address, where he had the gentleman who escaped North Korea, who lost both of his legs trying to steal coal from a train because he was starving. And he passed out from exhaustion. And the train ran over his legs. They amputated his legs without any anesthesia, because this is North Korea. And
sent him on his way.
And
essentially.
Well, they didn't. They tortured him. Yeah. They kept him in that prison camp and they tortured him. And they killed his family members, and just all these atrocious stories that you heard, and you felt so bad for this man who luckily escaped. But this is the same country that now, it hasn't even been a month yet, and we're turning around and we're praising the family members of the dictator. We're praising, the cheer squad, which I almost feel bad for them when you watch it, because they're being forced to smile, they're being forced to be there, and it's a very sad situation. And we as Americans, Mike Pence did a very brave thing by, sitting. People are calling him a hypocrite, which I'm going to say right now is absurd. Yes. This man chose not to stand for a country that does these things to his citizens. This is nothing close to what NFL players did. These are NFL players that are making millions of dollars, that are refusing to stand for the national anthem, which has stood as just a beacon of hope and what this country stands for. One of its biggest symbols of what this country stands for is the national anthem. So Mike Pence not standing for the North Korean athletes is nothing close. And I apologize to anyone who has been told that Mike Pence is being a hypocrite because of this, because that's just a flat-out lie. There's nothing hypocritical about not embracing a dictatorship this brutal.
Yeah, and going back to what you were saying about the State of the Union and all of that, and the very powerful message that was brought by having the defector from North Korea at the State of the Union, you have to look at what he got out of. It's very similar to China in the 1950s under the dictator Mao Zedong, during the Great Famine, in the Little Red Book, all that stuff that went down. And I believe almost 20 million plus killed, reportedly. Yeah, very well could be more. And it did it just the same way that North Korea is doing it now, by no food distribution. The food is going to the rich and powerful, which is really just the regime in power. Kim Jong-un and his closest advisors, and anyone who has gained access to that hierarchy. Also, they've just poked at South Korea. South Korea is very willing to defend themselves, and they have our backing from the U.S. forces. And there is a U.S. presence in there in terms of troops. So they are ready to fight, but they don't want it. Yeah. That's not what they want. They're just like America. They're very industrialized. They're very open. Not liberal in the sense, but just they operate as a cohesive unit. Yeah. As a country, they're very open to what people think and what people feel, and they have no problem welcoming in new people, which is the complete polar opposite of North Korea, and it is terrible to see. But unfortunately, we can't do what many very strong-minded people want to do, which is just walk in there and wipe the country off the face of the earth and move on with life. We unfortunately cannot do that as a government.
Yeah, and I know my personal stance on the North Korea issue is you have to get a team together to go in and assassinate this dictator, because he's just enslaving millions of people. And another thing too, you brought up South Korea, and they are a leader in the free world. They're one of the leading countries in the free world. That's been shown, economically and so forth. And if you look I don't know if any of you have seen the overhead shot of the Korean Peninsula at night and the lights.
Yes.
South Korea is lit up, and you can clearly see the border because everything north is dark, except
Pyongyang.
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 Yeah,
Yes.
Pyongyang,
Yes,
the capital. The capital of North Korea. So unfortunately, it doesn't seem like this dictator is going to step down anytime soon. But hopefully here in America, the best we can do is just call it what it is, and it's a dictatorship, and continue. President Trump hopefully will continue to be very critical of them and to force their hand, which I believe somewhat his restrictions on trade and so on and so forth. I think that plays a hand in them coming to the Olympics, and at least showing that they're willing to start working, because they're starting to really suffer from the restrictions being placed on them. I want to move to our second topic, and this is going to be really quick. This week, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell came out and stated that he believes that immigration talks could end this week. He believes a bipartisan deal on immigration could arise by the end of the week. I'm going to read you the Republican and Democratic plans that are being proposed. So the Republican plan is essentially being introduced. Senator Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania is heading that one. And he's talking about eliminating sanctuary cities, which is big topic.
Big, yes.
However, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer of the Democrats saying it lacks language on DACA, and of course the border wall, which both sides have agreed for funding of the border wall in exchange for amnesty for the Dreamer. Yeah. And here's the thing, even Trump has come out and said that for the Dreamers, he wants to provide amnesty and provide citizenship, which makes sense because these people have lived their entire lives here legally.
Yes.
And, they shouldn't be punished, as a lot of people say, and I agree with this point, where they shouldn't be punished for their parents' wrongdoings.
Right.
However, the whole idea that, you can bring someone here illegally needs to end. And the DACA program needs to end. But I believe these people should be granted amnesty and should be, allowed a path to citizenship. If we go to the Democrats' plan, it actually introduces some of the president's immigration framework. It gets rid of the lottery system. They're introducing the McCain-Coons proposal, which John McCain obviously is a Republican, so this is a bipartisan deal.
It's nice to see for once finally some two sides getting together to agree on something that could be pushed forward in a legitimate fashion now.
Yeah.
Definitely has a lot of steam behind it.
The only problem with this is that there's no wall funding, which President Trump's very stern on.
Yes.
And but it does address the DACA issue and the improving border security.
Yeah.
So you have these distinctions between border security and wall funding. Well, technically they're for the same thing, but it's a big political ploy because President Trump wants the wall, and Democrats aren't willing to give him funding for the wall, but they're willing to give him funding for border security, which still is good. But you're in this place now where if you're a Republican, if you want to vote conservative, you want to vote for border security.
Yeah.
But if you want to vote the Trump line, you're going to stay stern and say no, we want the wall. Which at this point it's too tough to tell honestly what. As a member of, and this is why I believe that nothing will get done, because it's too tough to determine what to vote for at this point. It's a mess. And I don't foresee it being fixed this week. CJ, you have any thoughts?
The big thing when it comes to border security versus wall funding, what you're deciding here, is whether you want to keep the wall that already exists, which is very, very proven that does not work.
Yeah,
it's not usable anymore.
Absolutely.
It's broken. They've figured out ways around it. So what you're doing is you're pretty much just giving more funding to a part of the government that already gets funding, but isn't able to keep up with it because the wall is so long. I don't know the exact measurement of miles on it off the top of my head, but it's too long. You cannot have it's not like the DMZ in Korea,
Yeah.
between North and South Korea, as we, just so happens to bring them up. They're able to cover that with the military, and there's no issue there. There's a soldier every, it seems to be 10 to 15 feet. There's no gaps in that wall.
Yeah.
But on the border here, there are so many gaps, and definitely that's where the wall should be preferred, in many eyes, is the better plan, because you are actually bolstering some kind of security that can actually act as a security, instead of having somebody patrol and have to constantly move around, and pull somewhere over here, and then there's a hole on this side where people can come flowing in, and by the time they get back there, it's like nothing has ever happened. They have no idea what's going on.
I think one thing's for certain, that this country needs, on both sides of the aisle, needs to work to strengthen our borders, because it's become sad how, the opioid epidemic, that's a direct result of, these people aren't growing these opioids and making these drugs here. It's very rarely is it happening here.
It's being brought in
exactly
here, and people are thinking that, and especially people who are unaware of what's truly going on with the opioid crisis. It's being brought in. It's not being made here.
Yeah.
We don't have sustainable conditions, especially in PA, really where you can make it.
Yeah.
Being that we're a Four Seasons area of the country, you need the humidity that in a tunnel basement to really make it the way it is. And people don't realize that. They think it's being made in our backyards, and it's really just being brought in by mules.
Absolutely.
From the cartels that are making so much money off this, and it's just disappointing.
It is. Well, we'd like to thank you for joining us for our first episode. This is going to be called the Waynesburg Report, so we're going to do this a lot. If any of our viewers are familiar with how the Daily Wire runs their YouTube channel, you have the Ben Shapiro Show, the Michael Knowles Show. This is going to be the Waynesburg Report. We're going to try and do this regularly. Yep. We'll also have, like I said, Benjamin Sievers and the gang back at Apollo working on producing episodes. I might do some with myself. CJ might have some with himself. It's going to be very free flowing, but we think it's going to be very effective. So we'd like to thank you for watching our first episode. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram. It's at CROC_party. You can like us on Facebook, and if you're not a member yet, the link's in all of our social media bios. Click on that link, fill out the survey, become a member, and get yourself a free copy of the CROC mag sent to you every month. Like I said, thanks again for watching, and have a good rest of your day.